mentors specifically for what you're trying to do. The idea of you being a lone ranger out there and trying to do things by yourself, you're going to be less effective if you decide to get yourself a life coach or mentor or someone that you can bounce off these ideas, because talking to yourself in your head all day long doesn't do as good as a dynamic interaction to come up with solutions, and if you actually meet somebody and have dialogue with them. So mentorship, coaching, self-help book, I mean, this is, I think I wouldn't be even close to where I'm at, because those people can change your life in a very dramatic pivot, you know? You might go and spend all this energy thinking you're doing this. Like when I think about when I was going to combat, I was the first troops in Iraq after going to Kuwait. We were out there, there were landmines, I mean, you name it, there's stuff all over the place. And we're literally the first guys going in there. I would have loved to be the second guy going in there, because the gunny would have come back and said, Santos, there's landmines over there, the map says this, the satellite feed's saying that, but go through there because the landmines are really over here. So the point is this, talk to people who've been there. You know, and when you're networking, realize that. Because when you're networking, you're going to realize you work at that company. And you start finding out, and you see the more you let them talk, the more data you get. And then you start finding out, you get personal too, how many, you have brothers, what do they do? Then they have their network, and it's all their data over there. And now you're realizing, wow, I can really use that conversation over there. And when you're talking, and then the conversation just evolves at that point. But, coaching, mentoring, having people in your back pocket that you can pick up the phone and call and find answers, because in life we get these knots, right? They're like shoelaces. They're huge knots, and you can't get past these things, and these things stop you because you can't undo that knot. But you can get somebody who's an expert with a needle and just undo it for you, and you can move on. Tie your shoelaces and go play basketball, whatever it is that you're trying to do. But mentorship, getting people to help you out, is critical to your success, I think.
Let me add something to that brilliant answer to your question. I learned from some of the best coaches and mentors what to do right and what to do wrong. I have coaches for both, people that I've identified. But one of the things I never let anybody let me coach me in is how my personality integrates into the overall goal. And my story is this. One of the most defining moments in a person's life is when you take your first solo flight. I mean, you have a coach, you have mentors, you have teachers, and you're in this thing that has wings, and you're going down the runway really fast, and then this thing called rotation happens. And you're in the air, and you're going fast up in the air. And all of a sudden, you look to your right, and your coach isn't there, and your mentor's not there, and you look to your left, and you have to practice what your coaches and mentors have told you on your own. And if you don't, it's not going to end well for you. So I think that coaching and mentoring is really important. And I'll never forget it. The very first time I took an airplane off by myself, my mentor and coach handed me the keys and said, okay, kid, you're on your own. And I go, what does that mean? I said, you're done. You're done being coached. It's time to transition from the coaching mode to the practitioner mode. And I'll never forget, I took off, and I was supposed to look frontwards, and I looked backwards out the back window, and I just watched the earth go away from me. And I had to use every skill I learned from a coach and a mentor to land that airplane the first time. And it was the most fabulous experience I've ever had in my life, practicing mentoring, coaching towards the transition of practical application. So pay attention to that.
I love that. That's great.
I just